it's some type of animal that just it's that coffee and then poops it out and it brings all these flavors, I guess. But I don't know. I never had it. I know it's really expensive, and I will not try it.
Yeah.
Take a moment to breathe, grab a beverage or two. We got professional guests with lots of stories for you. So take a seat right here and join us on Careers Over Beers.
Yeah.
You ready to do this?
I'm ready to drink a beer.
Ready to drink a
It's
beer?
Friday.
It is Friday, but it's Tuesday technically when this drops.
Oh, okay.
So we'll say it's Tuesday.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. It's Friday. Let's have a beer, man. Welcome to Careers Over Beers podcast, folks. My name is Jesse Krause, the host. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Today I have somebody in the coffee business on, but we're going to drink some beers too. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you for having me here. My name is Oscar Pineda, and I am a dedicated coffee roaster. Yeah.
Coffee roaster, but you're also doing a cafe now, right?
Yeah, we're expanding to a small coffee shop. The vision is being people to people. We have 3 pillars that are coffee, community, and family.
Coffee, community, and family.
Yes.
Those are the 3 most important things.
Yeah.
And yeah, they all work together too. Coffee is very good at bringing people together, sort of the same way beer is.
Really too.
There's
Yeah.
something about it, having a coffee
Yeah.
with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I know that most of Americans today just grab one on the way to work and are in a rush. But there's something to doing that old school, having a coffee with somebody, sitting down and talking.
Yeah.
It all kind of works together.
Yeah, creating memories.
Yeah, for sure.
We're building memories.
Let's build some memories right now, man. I got some IPA. You requested IPA. You didn't say which kind.
Nope.
So are you cool with this?
Yeah.
Have you ever had this one before?
No, I haven't.
This is High Beam IPA by Walnut River Brewing Company, and they're right out of El Dorado.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to BJ Hunt. He was on here, actually. He's the one that... He's not the brewer, but he's a business partner, and he's been helping them spread the word and giving his input. So
That's good.
shout out to him. Hopefully you
Thank
like
you.
it. Have you ever had this before?
I have not. I had IPAs, but not this one.
I don't know if you like putting it in a glass or not. I'm going to put mine in a glass. So do you like coffee or beer more?
Depends the day and the time.
Yeah? If it's on a Friday, you're going beer?
Yeah.
What about a Friday morning?
No.
You're not
Coffee.
Not a morning drinker?
No. I keep it in my... I only drink special occasions here and there, but I don't drink a lot.
Okay.
I do enjoy the beer just like I enjoy coffee, because I feel like it has something behind it too as well.
Yeah.
Whoever created this beer, they were thinking about something.
Yeah, it's got kind of a story to it. Somebody's
Exactly.
spending time brewing that and putting all the ingredients together and tasting it. That's why I'm a big supporter of local stuff, because when you're drinking just like a Bud Light or something, you're getting something that's just pushed through a factory, whereas these guys are actually in El Dorado, brewing this stuff, tasting it, same way you're doing your stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Whenever, I have a coffee, I kind of like think about, who was behind it, and I try to make the best out of that coffee, thinking that, maybe one day they'll hear about us, or I don't know, but I just try to represent every single coffee as best as it can be.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers to that, man.
Cheers. Thank you.
So you're an IPA fan.
Yeah.
You got the taste for the bitterness, right? Coffee's real bitter. IPAs are real bitter.
Well, I think this beer is, there's something else behind it. There's some nice tea flavors, some nice peachy flavors behind it. It's not as bitter as
some of them.
yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right, dude. Let's
Yeah.
talk. How did you get into coffee at all?
Well,
I mean, first of all, how did you even get into coffee the first time you tried it?
well, it's a long story, really long story. But
We got a long time.
the reason I got it, so this kind of like gets into, how would I describe this? I don't want to put it the wrong way either, This is kind of like, like every story, as an immigrant, I came here to the States when I was 6 years old. And so, I was raised by my grandparents. We were here. I went to elementary school, middle school, high school. And after high school, it was kind of hard for me to get a job. And even though I went to a technical college, they were requiring experience, but
Right.
they didn't take the experience that I took or I got from the technical college. And so there was a opportunity. They offered a job to my mom, doing some cleaning, maintenance, janitorial stuff. And so I asked that person, hey, can I come? I'm getting ready to get out of high school. I need a job. Can I come work for you? And they were like, oh, yeah, come this day, talk to this person, and we'll get you taken care of. So that happened. I started working in the warehouse, cleaning, taking out trash, loading vending trucks with different products for vending machines. Did that for a while. Then opportunity came. Started packaging coffee. That happened. Then started bottling water. Did that. And then started roasting.
So you started packaging coffee. Were you already drinking coffee before this?
Yeah. I was drinking Nescafe.
So you came to the United States when you were 6.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you from exactly?
Michoacan, Mexico. A little bit, kind of like in the middle.
In the middle?
Mexico, yeah. A little
Okay.
bit towards the west coast.
Is it pretty far south, or
Not too far south. It's kind of like in the middle.
were you drinking coffee back then?
No. No. My dad was.
Your dad was?
Yeah. He was a heavy drinker guy, and, to cure his hangover, he would drink coffee.
Drink some coffee, yep. There's nothing like it. So you guys came to the United States when you were 6. What was that experience like? Do you remember much of that?
Honestly, I don't. We just came.
Do you remember having any culture shock or anything like that? Do you remember thinking stuff was weird?
It was a little different, for sure. But as a kid, you don't think a lot of that, like differences and stuff.
Yeah.
You just kind of like, well, I'm with my mom or dad, and I don't know.
You're like, man, there's fast food everywhere here.
A lot of pizza.
A lot of pizza, especially in Wichita. You live in Wichita now. I think we're one of the highest cities. Is that right? As far as food goes, one of the biggest, or per mile or per capita or whatever, fast food in the country. It's crazy here.
Really crazy. But there's a lot of good spots opening up. There's a lot of entrepreneurs, small businesses starting up. They have a lot of good food.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
basically creating culture through their food, and it's bringing diversity. Wichita's getting very
Definitely.
diverse now.
Definitely,
these days.
yeah. I tell people all the time that this is one of the best places to live as far as trying different cultures and ethnicities, especially their food and stuff. I mean, I've been to several other cities throughout the U.S., and you can't find Vietnamese food like you can in Wichita. You can't find Mexican food like you can in Wichita. It's crazy, and it's because we have so many people of different backgrounds that live here. You would never think that in a state or in a city in the middle of Kansas, in the middle of the Midwest. But it's true, and it's a beautiful thing. We have such good food here.
Yeah.
and coffee. So
And coffee.
you started
Yeah.
roasting coffee. You had never done that before?
No, I never have done. This it was more commercial.
Yeah.
There's there's commercial and then there's specialty coffee. The commercial is just roasting a lot of coffee that it's so coffee is graded from 80 points to like 90 some points. Um, Considering specialty coffee is between 84 and up, and from 84 down is considered more commercial. Uh, Commercial because you find a lot of different defects in coffee. If you didn't know, coffee is actually a fruit plant that is grown in a tree.
Yeah.
And
I saw that. I was in Hawaii recently and I went to a coffee farm down there and it was really cool to see the beans actually on the trees.
Yeah.
Never seen it like that before.
Yeah, it's like a cherry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's caffeinated at that point too, right? Can you
Yeah,
eat them raw like that?
Yeah, I mean you can't eat them raw. You remove the skin, the pulp, and then you could put there's a seed in the middle, and then you could put it to boil, and you're extracting all that caffeine. And there's some people that drink it like that for remedies, I guess. But yeah, you can
It's
extract.
not
all
very
that
tasty
caffeine.
though, probably.
No,
No.
probably has some honey to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, coffee. There's so many things behind coffee. There's a lot of different hands behind it. The producers. There is different processes and methods in coffee. That's more in the specialty side. You can find different processes. They're called a few of them are most common ones are wash process coffee where cherries are picked and they put in a big tub to wash them, and then they put them through a depulper. It's kind of like not necessarily a grinder, but it's kind of like grinder is removing all the skin from the seed, and then they let it dry. And when they import that coffee actually still has water activity inside in the coffee seed.
Uh-huh.
And so like my job is to roast the coffee, remove all that water activity through the roasting process. There's
Completely dry it out.
completely. There's different. It kind of gets a little bit scientific,
A little technical.
technical,
Yeah.
because during the roasting process, there's a drying phase process where you're removing all the water activity from the seed. You're drying it out. You're removing all that water, and then you get to the yellowing phase, which the coffee actually looks yellow.
The bean does.
The bean does, yeah.
So the bean is actually the seed?
Mhm.
Is that
The
correct?
seed, yeah.
Okay, so that's actually the seed of the fruit, is what
Exactly.
you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of, I guess that word is kind of a misconception. People think that they're beans, but they're not, right?
Well, they look like beans.
They look like a bean.
But it's a seed, actually.
It's actually a seed, okay.
Mhm.
And they're,
It's a
they're
seed getting
yellow.
roasted. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets to a yellowing phase, and then you get to the brown stage, where the coffee, there's caramelizations and sugar contents happening in that brown stage.
Yeah.
And then when you go down to a retail store and you're tasting in the coffee, in the bag it says, "Oh, this tastes like
Has-
watermelon,
Yeah.
strawberry,
Chocolate, cherries.
caramel."
Yeah.
In the process of that roasting, then there's another process behind next to it, which is called cupping the coffee. You get to taste the coffee. You come up with a tasting note. You determine if you need to do different adjustments to the roast, where you can bring more sweetness out, or you can bring more acidity out, or you need to decrease the acidity in the roast.
Yeah, so those are all the different ways that you make different blends and roasts, right? So
Well,
is it all the same exact seed or bean?
no.
No. Okay.
Okay, so when you're talking about blends, that's something different. When I'm talking about roasting, you know, some people refer to roasting like a dark roast, medium roast, light
Yeah.
roast. Then when you're talking about blending, uh, roasters typically blend different country origins together to create a profile flavor or
Gotcha.
taste.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So
depending on what you want. Typically, you know, Colombia coffee is really popular,
hmm
and what Colombia coffees typically have is they have a higher acidity uh, in the cup. Mexico coffees typically have a woody, dark chocolate flavors behind it. Africa coffee, man, those Africa coffees are fruity and juicy.
see, that's
um,
so crazy.
yeah,
There's so many different things. So you have the different beans or seeds that come from different regions, which all give different flavors off, right?
hmm
And then your roasting process can pull out different flavors as well. And then you can blend them if you want too. So you have like
you create
so many combinations.
something. Yeah, you create a combination. You can create so many things, and that's what's. I think that's why I felt very attached to coffee because I mean coffee has bringing me or brought opportunities for me, gave me something to work towards, a vision to also do or create. Uh,
Yeah, because you're an artist at that point. When you're finding different notes that you're changing the roast and tweaking it slightly and pulling out a little more sugars or whatever it might be, you're an artist basically.
mhm.
You're making a new product. You're making something new for the world to taste,
Yeah.
right?
And I get excited whenever I talk about different coffee topics, like roasting or cupping. I mean,
So cupping,
there's
just to go back to that real quick, that's where you're actually tasting your roast and you're determining if you want to tweak it or not.
exactly, yeah. Cupping, it can be when I'm actually sourcing the coffee and I'm getting ready to buy that coffee, but I want to make sure to know what am I actually buying, and so that's some of the first stages that we normally do as roasters is we source a coffee, we bring a sample in, we cup it, and then we determine which coffees are we gonna buy, or vice versa. We also create blends by cupping. We taste all these different coffees that we got, and then yeah, we cup it.
How are you tasting it when you're cupping it? Are you brewing it?
You basically do an emergent brew. There's a ratio that we use depending on what size of cup we're using, and then the amount of grounds that we're gonna be using, and that's how that kind of works. We just basically pour hot water. It has to be at least 100, at least 203 degrees Fahrenheit. There's another side of not roasting, but in the coffee world,
Snobbery.
ratios. Uh,
Yeah, just I mean, we could probably go
So
on and
many.
on, and we
Yeah,
will.
so
We'll dive
many.
into that
So
too,
many.
about the best ways to brew it, the best ways to make it. You're not putting it in just a old-fashioned coffee machine, are you? When you're cupping it
no,
into a pot?
no, we can, but no.
Yeah. Drip coffee from the snobs that I've talked to, which no offense to any snobs, but they always tell me that drip is not the way to go because I've been turning into a coffee snob myself lately.
You
And I can't even hardly drink drip anymore after I started making espresso. And I have a little espresso maker at work, And after doing that and using a French press or like a gravity press,
Mhm.
I just can't even hardly drink drip coffee anymore.
Yeah, that's another side. Brew methods, like you got roasting, you have brew methods, you have ratios, you have so much that you
There's so
get to
many.
discover. You get to play around with the brew methods. I mean, there's French press. There's pour overs, which there's on the pour over section. There's V60, Chemex, uh, origamis, Calitas. I mean, there's so many. I mean, that coffee has created all these different ways to enjoy coffee. You know.
Yeah, it's an entire world that you can dive into as deep as you want to go.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, it might make you money, it might not make you money. I don't know, but you sure will get a good cup of coffee if you.
well, there's a lot of people that just want to that just get obsessed with it, just drinking it. You know, they
Yeah.
want to find the best method, the best roast, the best whatever it might be.
Yeah, and I mean, going back a little bit towards drip coffee, you can make some really good drip coffee. You know, depending on what type of equipment are you using. Are you grinding your own coffee, etc.?
Yeah, you're not just scooping out Folgers and dumping it into the
Yeah.
coffee maker, right?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say to Folgers?
Thank you for introducing me to coffee.
Yeah. You know, I'm a black coffee drinker too. That's how I prefer doing it.
Yeah,
And
that's the best way to
As-
enjoy it.
what's up?
That's the best way
Best
to
way
enjoy
to
it.
enjoy it, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's your favorite coffee? Like, what's the best way that you would drink it?
The best way that I would drink it is a pour over, because you actually have it's a manual. A pour over is a manual brew method that you brew coffee with, and you have the control of how you brew the coffee. How much sweetness can you bring out of the coffee? Acidity.
Can you explain what a pour over is?
Yeah, a pour over is just a method where you have a filter with a small device that goes over a container, and then that filter you pre-wet it. You're removing the paper or the taste of paper from that filter. You pour hot water over it, then you dump the hot water, and then you go in there and pour in your coffee, and then with a kettle you actually pour water over the coffee, and you start to see the I guess that reaction of coffee when hot water is hitting the coffee or
Kind of
or
blooms
touching
a little
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
You start seeing all those gases being released from the coffee ground. Yeah, and then you just pour water. You know, there's different ways that people do it. There's a certain time that you want to be done by. There's a certain amount of ground or coffee that you want to use. A certain amount of water that you have to use for that certain amount of coffee that you're using. So there's a little bit of a technique there, but anybody can learn it with practice and also enjoy a good cup of coffee.
So that's almost like a drip coffee method then, isn't it? You're just kind of doing it yourself and controlling exactly how much you're dumping on it.
Yeah, because sometimes that automatic machine might not be able to catch all the grounds or wet them, or it might over extract the coffee, or it might under extract the coffee. So that way you have the control of that.
Gotcha. And do you have a certain roast that you like the best that you make?
I really enjoy light roast. I enjoy medium roast. I'm not a big fan of dark roast. Not that there's no good dark roast, but I really enjoy those.
Well,
those
is
two.
darker roast better for espresso?
You know, there is. It's yes or no. I mean, it depends what you drink. You know, if you're drinking espresso with with the milk, a dark roast would be great. If you're drinking espresso by itself, you want to enjoy the espresso, you can actually get some good light roast espresso. It might be a little bit kick to it, but it'll be very pleasant if you know how to extract that espresso.
Mm-hmm. Does the caffeine content have anything to do with the roast?
Yes. You know, the lighter the roast is, the more caffeine it has.
Really?
The darker, the less
It's
caffeine
kind
it
of
has.
the opposite of what I would think.
Yeah.
Normally you think like this is a dark roast, like this is gonna mess me up. You know?
Because of that bitterness that it has behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the lighter roasts are more caffeinated and they're a little bit smoother to drink.
Not smoother. They're a little bit more like a kick to it, just because of the acidity. Well, and it depends the origin of the coffee, the process of the coffee too as well. Like a washed coffee in espresso, you're gonna have a kick to it with the acidity. It's gonna like punch you.
Yeah.
Wake up. There's a natural process. A natural process where they depulp the well, not that depulp, but they pick the cherries and they put in patios outside and let the sun dry them
Oh.
with the skin on the seed.
Really?
And so what that's doing, it's that seed is extracting all the juices, all the flavors off the skin and the mucilage that the seed has around it. And then what they do is, you know, they move it around because it can get moldy. So they have different hours where they go and they move the cherries to one side to another, and then at the end, that skin is dried out, and so that seed has all those flavors in it. And so from my experience, I have seen that natural coffees might be a little sweeter, a little smoother, depending on the origin as well.
That's so cool. I want to drink a cup of coffee that's made like that. Do you guys have any beans that are like that?
Oh yeah,
Really?
we do.
Where they dry them in the sun?
So
Dang, which one is that called that you guys sell?
Guerrero.
Guerrero?
It's actually from the state of Guerrero. You typically see a lot of coffees. So most of the coffees that we roast, they're from Mexico, and I just wanted to kind of like highlight Mexico coffees to people because I mean everybody knows Colombia, Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
but Mexico has some good coffees too as well.
So
And
are you contacting these farmers down there yourself, or how does that all work? How does that all work when you want to
It's-
import beans?
it's difficult because as a small roaster, it's kind of hard to contact them and reach them. The way that we're doing things is that we look to see who we're working with, if it's an importer or exporter, and see what their values are or what they're actually doing for that coffee producer. If it matches our values and what we want to do for future, and they want to be part of it, you know, we'll work with them. As a small roaster, it's kind of very, very difficult to
So what
get
was
those
that?
coffees in.
So what was that like then when you started? Like when you said I'm gonna make my own coffee roasting business. Where did you begin as far as getting the beans?
Well, I've been in coffee for so long that I already have my contacts. I have my network already. That it was very easy for me to, okay, I'm gonna work with this guy, and that guy. 'cause
Gotcha.
I know what they're doing.
You already had the hookups.
Yeah, already since I mean,
That's kind of probably how you got your idea then, where you're like, I could do this on my own.
yeah.
Because you already knew the people, you knew the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, and I have really good friends. I mean, all over the states where they kind of like push me to do this project or this idea or this vision that I had. You know, just pushing me to just do it and do it and do it. And here we are today. You know, trying to make it work, to make a positive impact here, be that connection, be that other side to this consumer side, and kind of like explain them about what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very cool, man. Congratulations on everything, because from where you started, which you were just a stand, from what I understand from the articles that I've seen on you, you were just kind of selling out of like a stand at farmers markets and stuff.
Yeah, so the idea was first to do e-commerce website and sell e-commerce, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it was very difficult because people didn't know me, or they didn't know what I was about, or what did I want to do. So we me and my wife, we wanted to do pop-ups. We could create awareness of our brand, right? But we also wanted to be that bridge between the communities around us and say, this is what we want to do and this is who we are. Would you be part of us? Would you be part of our family? And so we created this diversity among our community, and I think that our community has been very supportive, and we thank them a lot.
Yeah.
And also our partners, because we are here because of them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, without their support. And we want to continue this to do positive changes, to do positive impacts, to do positive, to make positive conversations. I mean, everything's positive, but at the end of the day, it's up to our community if they want it or not. We can do what we can, what we feel that what we can do. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. No, you have such a bigger vision than just selling and roasting and selling coffee. There's a whole package to your deal, right?
And so I really, sometimes I don't really look at the financials until I'm with my accountant, but my mind's always like the impact that I can do, the community. Like I never think about the profit. Like, are we making profit?
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna make it? It's like that. Like that's never in my mind or in my intentions. It's always like, oh, what can I do to do a positive thing, or what can I do to help out? I just never think about the profit sides.
That's a rare thing to see in people, especially business owners.
And I mean, I come from a very humble family that they taught me how to work, how to get on my feet, and I mean, I already know where nothing is at. And I mean, if I'm doing all this work and stuff, it's also for me is a way to kind of teach my kids, our work ethic, where we come from, that we have to work for our things. And if at the end of the day it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But they seen work, they have that background.
And the important lesson that they're learning from you too is the realization that you can create anything you want to. And that's why, like, you're an inspiration to me. I love talking to people like you that have started their own thing and are just doing great and thriving with it, because it's just amazing to see over and over again that if you put your mind to it and you put the work in and you have a good idea, the world will embrace you, the community will embrace you, and you can create whatever you want.
Yeah, I think it's more heart. You got to put your heart first and then everything else, because if you're doing everything with no heart, no purpose or anything, then it's gonna be lost. There's no good intentions to that. And
if you're just trying to take off instantly and make a buck, people recognize that and they see that and they can tell it's fake.
Yeah.
And plus you have to have a product that you enjoy yourself, right?
You gotta have something that you enjoy, that you like, that you have a passion for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people can see right through that, especially today. That's one of the blessings, I think, from social media and the internet, is that people's bullshit meters is a lot better. Yeah. They can tell when people are just trying to make a buck or go viral,
Yeah.
But it's cool that you're in a community that already embraces diversity and different ethnicities, and you're putting Mexican coffee out there for the world, right?
Yeah.
All of your beans are from Mexico.
Yeah.
And people don't normally think about that. A lot of people probably don't even know about Mexican coffee. They just think of Starbucks or Dunkin' or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, it kind of helps that they're there too, because they're able to tell the difference between my product and their product, and they get to taste, I mean, a little bit of everything,
Yeah, that's very cool. Is it possible to grow coffee in the U.S. at all? Do people do that?
Yeah, I think there's some fields in California that they're actually they're growing coffee. There is warehouses where there's climate control, and they grow their coffees in there too as well. I mean, they can manipulate uh, the the
Because it's
the
still
temperature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it has
it's
to
still
do
a
with the
little
temperature.
colder than down south.
Yeah, you don't want them to freeze. But
I always wonder that because a lot of the roasts you see, well, virtually all the roasts you see, say they're from somewhere down in the Caribbean or somewhere in Mexico, you know. And you never see like Texas grown coffee, or something, you know what I'm saying?
no, we are actually growing coffee in Adelitas Cafe.
Are you really?
Yeah, we have a couple plants of coffee. Once in Ethiopia. Here's another thing. There's different. I think there's 3 different varieties of coffee. The most common used is Arabica. Uh, that plant has more. It's more. You can get more insect damage, or it's more
It's more prone to like getting eaten by insects and stuff.
insects, or getting burned by the sun. Uh, then another thing, elevation matters too. If it's above sea level, it goes between 800 to maybe 2,000. The higher the altitude is, the more healthier the plant is, the more time it has to be on the tree and actually extract all those good nutrients that tree can give. But then you also have the robusta, where you can grow that coffee here in, probably in Kansas in, in the heat, and it'll take that heat. But the difference is that the robusta has more. It's more bitter. Like you won't be able to get those. Well, you know what? I'll take that back, because right now there's all these different processes going on where they're playing a lot with robusta, and they're kind of like changing the DNA, I would say, in the plant on how they grow it.
GMOs.
Yeah, and so you get different flavors now. I mean, same thing with the Arabica.
They're gonna have a cotton candy flavored
hey,
coffee someday.
most likely, I can see that happening.
They already made those cotton candy grapes. Have you tried those?
Mm-mm.
Just sugar bombs. That's all they are. Just people messing with the genome,
Yeah. I mean, it's good things about it, and there's bad things about it, because I mean, the coffee producer can sell their coffee now.
Yeah.
Before then, they might not have been able to, but now with these different processes, they're able to make a living.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for that. There's the one side that GMOs are evil and bad. There's the other side that, could you feed the world without GMOs? Probably not. I mean, with corn and wheat and everything that we grow here, it's a tough subject to talk about. People want to take a side, but it's like, I don't know.
It's difficult.
It's weird. It's interesting to see, and we don't really even know, the science behind it, if it affects humans or not. But
yeah,
it is kind of crazy to see the stuff they can do.
Yeah, but there's so much varieties as well. Like there's different varieties on tomatoes, apples. Same thing with coffee. You have different varieties of coffee plants as well. Some taste a certain way, some taste a different way, so on. So much to learn. So much.
Do you guys flavor coffees too?
No.
No? I respect that. You want another beer, man?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't.
I respect that.
Coffees.
You don't need to flavor.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's the market. There's a market for that too as well.
I'd say there's something wrong with it. Have you seen these lines of people that like go through Dutch Bros? Have you seen those places lately?
Yeah.
All of these Gen Zers, no offense, are sitting in line waiting for these coffees, and they're getting a milkshake basically.
Yeah.
With like one shot of espresso, and then the rest of it's like a cupcake frappe.
Well,
with syrup all over it.
So I think we're talking about 2 different things here. There's like flavored coffee drinks, and then there's flavored coffee.
I was talking about flavored coffee beans, where they mix them in oil and stuff.
No,
yeah.
We don't do all of our stuff is natural. Some of the stuff that we have is all organic.
Yeah. See, I was just making fun of people that say that they're coffee drinkers, but they don't actually like the taste of coffee.
Yeah.
They just like to get this milkshake for breakfast and call it coffee. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
add some sugar and creamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what you drink. I'm just being the bad guy. But
No, there's. I mean that. So here's another. Thing. That people enjoy coffee different ways. But they're still drinking coffee.
true. They are still drinking coffee, even if it's buried under a mountain of sugar.
They're still drinking it. So.
And maybe that's the way they get introduced to it. Maybe that's the way they start. They start with some cream and some sugar and maybe some birthday cake syrup all over the top of it. And then they're like, okay, well, maybe I'll get a double shot. Oh, I actually kind of like the taste of that.
Yeah.
They graduate to a latte, and then they graduate to an Americano. And before they know it, they like coffee.
They're like making a pour over.
Yeah, so I shouldn't bag on it.
They start buying their grinders.
They start buying their grinders, and they get really into it, like I have been for the past year now.
That's good. I mean, it's always good to see people that appreciate the coffee, and that's a lot of good respect. That they put that work behind it as well.
Yeah, does that ever hurt your feelings a little bit when somebody doctors up their coffee? Like, you spent all this time cupping and roasting, trying to pull these notes out of these beans and these different flavors, just for somebody to doctor it up with all sorts of flavors and sugar and stuff. Does that ever bother you?
No, because I create products. I have different products where I create a product exactly for that person. If they want to add sugar and creamer, here you go. I have this. Buenos dias. This coffee is really good with your sugar and your creamer. I have this other product. You don't like sugar creamer? Oh, I have this. This has tasting notes of this, and that.
And especially with your
for
cafe now, right?
Yeah.
You can do that for people.
Yeah. I mean, so
however they like it.
I have different products for whatever they want to do with, French press, pour over, batch, drip coffee. They want sugar and creamer. Yeah, I when I'm roasting, I also think about that too as well. What the customers are gonna want as well. And even before I put it out there, I want to make sure I taste it the way they're gonna make it before I even put the product out there, because I want to make sure that coffee's even highlighted, even through sugars and milk or creamer.
Dang, yeah. You really do care about each person's coffee.
Yeah,
I like the baristas at Starbucks, right?
Yeah. I think they have to do their job. They're trying to do what they do.
You're a better man than me, because I like to cook a lot, and it's similar to me. Like, a good analogy would be cooking a good steak for somebody, right? And then they just douse it in ketchup or something. You're like, no, I should have just cooked a hamburger for you,
Medium rare.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, but
So what was it like when you started this business? What were some of the hoops you had to jump through? What are some hardships you had to go through? Or was it a pretty easy process?
No, to tell you the truth, the I guess the biggest one was believing in myself and taking the risk.
Yeah,
that was
jumping in that water, right?
Yeah, that was the biggest one, because I have a family. I have to feed them. But
it's a scary thing to do, just to risk it all like that.
Yeah, the unknown on like what's gonna happen. That trail that I decided to take, and I think that was one of the hardest one. Trusting myself and doing it.
But once you started seeing some success, it's all that much more rewarding, right?
Yeah,
knowing the risk and work you put in.
Yeah, we're taking baby steps on like what we do, what we say. Just taking it little by little.
What does your daily life look like right now? Now that you have a roasting business, right?
Yeah.
And you're also running the cafe.
Yeah.
Which is a new thing. So you were roasting for about a year, is that correct? Before.
Like me, I mean, I've been roasting coffee for like 15 years.
Well, okay, for 15 years, but your first business, How long have you had that
Oh,
before your new cafe opened?
2 years,
2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
2021.
And so you're just rolling with it. I mean, was
Yeah.
your vision always to open a cafe too?
It wasn't. I mean, it had it in me. Like, maybe like one day I would have a coffee shop or something,
Mhm.
just because like the experience that you bring to people, conversations, their faces. Like one of the things that I really enjoyed was when we were doing pop-ups, and we would hand out a drink to a customer, and they would, out of nowhere, they would just turn around and they just glow their eyes up,
And you see them smile, and they're like,
smiling,
"Wow, that's
and
good."
they're like that was fulfilling. Like, that's exactly
You get
what
to
I wanted
see your product in action,
yeah.
right? Versus just roasting and selling bags of coffee beans. You could actually see people now taste it and go, "Whoa,
Yeah,
that's amazing."
yeah, that was fulfilling. But yeah.
Would you say that most of your customers are Spanish or Latino?
No, I think we have a really good diverse customers. We have a lot of from different ages, different ethnic groups, which I really am glad and thankful for.
Happy
that.
for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Wichita really does embrace people like that, man. I'm telling you. We live in a great city.
Yeah, we're creating something. I mean, I think Wichita, we might be a little behind from other cities, but it's good because we're going slow but surely.
Mm-hmm.
Building it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Never expect to blow up instantly,
No.
That'll ruin everything if you think that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're enjoying every single side aspect, time, everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are you busier than hell right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're busy. I mean, I'm busy. My family.
What are you actually doing right now? Are you actually still roasting the beans and stuff?
Yeah,
Or?
I mean, I'm doing a lot of different things, roasting, thinking about the next product, or fixing something, or pulling my kids' ears when they're doing something wrong. Just
Playing dad still.
doing that, yeah, playing that, being a husband, being everything.
Are you making coffees too at your coffee shop?
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything what the customer wants. We do pour overs, we have drip coffee, we have a lot of different inspired childhood memories, creating different drinks that way. Just because I think a lot of us humans always go back to kind of like our childhood memories when we were growing up, when we were more with our mom or dad, and we had this snack, or we had this something when we were growing up. And my memories, or my mind is like, I want to do that for people. I want to bring experiences. I want to bring memories through a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that so much. So much more than just grabbing a coffee to go in the morning,
Yeah, we want to be that person's, maybe make their day somehow.
Yeah. Which
Just through a
is,
cup of
we need
coffee.
more of that in the world, We need more of this stuff. Because for so long, especially the older generation in America, it was just grab and go, grab and go, grab and go. Dump that Folgers into your drip coffee, grab the pot, and hit the road and honk at everybody on your way to work. So it's cool to see people actually embracing a place where it's a whole experience.
Yeah.
You're sitting down and having a good coffee. You're enjoying it. It's a treat,
Yeah. It's different. I mean,
Do you have daily customers that come through every morning to get their morning coffee?
yeah. I mean, we thank them a lot to be very supportive, to be there every day. I mean, they're there at the same time, same day. We change the drink sometimes, though.
Oh, do you?
we encourage them to taste something different. Well, my wife actually, kind of like helps them come out of the box a little bit and try them or have them try something different. Uh, just to help them explore,
Yeah.
And I think they're enjoying that.
Hell yeah. Sometimes you gotta be like, come on, Kevin, you're not gonna do the same latte again today, bud.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna eat something different.
It's.
Do you have a favorite drink that you like to make? Like a instead of just drinking it black or an espresso?
I think my favorite one's the Gansito. It's kind of like a Twinkie, American version.
Yeah.
A Twinkie, but it's a Mexican Twinkie. Chocolate, some strawberries, some vanilla in there as well. Some coffee, and it's
with some cream and stuff too.
no cream.
No cream.
It's just some chocolate, strawberry.
Really?
Vanilla.
Do you guys do that thing where you put the chocolate bar on it and
No.
pour the coffee over it?
We make our own syrups from scratch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
We make our own syrups from scratch, and then we add some coffee, and we enjoy that drink.
Nice. That's very cool.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
I really don't drink a lot of flavored drinks or sugar drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I'm always drinking black coffee. But if I would go to a sweet drink, it'll be that one. But it's very rare when I drink sweet drinks.
Those are perfect for like a dessert coffee after you have like a meal, have like a sweet coffee drink like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I like doing those. Those are treats for me. I'm a black coffee drinker too. I'll do an Americano sometimes, or I'll do just a shot of espresso. But once in a while, I'll treat myself. Probably like once a month, where I'll do something fancy and sugary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't. It's an experience for sure.
Yeah. You know what else is crazy? Like chocolate. We were talking about that for a second. That's very similar to coffee, don't you think? The way that it's made and everything. To me, it is, anyways. I don't know much about coffee roasting or even like cocoa processing, but
cocoa's
they seem similar to me. They have a similar taste profile.
Yeah. Cocoa is actually roasted as well. It's roasted, and I think there's different varieties of cocos, and I think there's so kind of like in coffee, they're starting to grade the cocos.
Yeah.
As well, like, oh, this cocoa is this much points, so I don't know, but yeah, cocoa's also roasted as well.
And it used to, I think originally it was a drink too, right?
Cocoa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You
if
find
you
it
go
everywhere.
back to the origins of chocolate,
Yeah.
I think they used to drink it.
Yeah. I don't know very much about cocoa, but I was starting to get a little bit on to want to learn more about cocoa, because I was at one time wanted to roast cocoa too as well.
That'd be cool, man.
But I hear that when you roast it, it smells really strong. And it's
Oh, really?
a bad smell. Yeah.
Speaking of that, do you ever get what's the word I'm looking for? Not used to, but do you still enjoy the smell of coffee roasting?
Yeah, it's
You've been around it for so long now. You've been doing it for so long. Do you still get that?
yeah.
Because I get that every time I smell coffee beans.
Well, yeah, you get that when you roast it as well too. Once you open that door, dropping those beans out, and
It never gets old for
turning
you.
on your cooler then, and they're spinning in there. You get to smell
You get
some
it.
beautiful aromas out of
man.
there as well. As well, when you grind them,
That never gets
when
old
you
for
open
you.
that bag, you get excited about it. I get excited about
Every
it.
time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that stuff, dude. That's got to be one of the best smells of all time.
Yeah.
Fresh roasted coffee.
It's an experience. It's
Yeah,
an
for
experience for
sure.
sure, especially when you grind it too.
So that roaster, what is it exactly? Is it spinning in there like a popcorn machine kind of? How is it working?
So there's different types of roasters as well. I mean, you have an air roaster, you have a drum roaster, convection, non-convection. All this another side of roasting or coffee or however you want to call it. But the one roaster that I'm using is non-convection, where you have a direct flame on the drum. It's a drum that spins around. It has blades inside the building where when it's spinning, it's actually flipping the beans around. That way they don't get burned from one side.
Mm-hmm.
They get roasted.
How hot does it
evenly.
have to be inside there for those beans to roast like that? Do you know the temperature?
It depends. It depends what you're doing. It depends what you're going for.
So many
The
factors.
adjustments. Yeah. There's airflow as well because you're removing some of that air out of there. There's so many factors in it, but I mean, you have that. There's systems or programs what you use when you're roasting coffee as well that you use to kind of guide you where you're going. It's called a curve profile or a curve roast. You have airflow, and then once you get to the temperature you want to drop the coffee in, it goes into a what would it be called, a cooling den, where it spins and it's cooling the beans when they're dropped out of the drum. And once they're cooled, it goes through a destoner because that removes any rocks. Some coffees have still rocks or stones in there from the mill, and then you drop them out.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, there's also at Origin, there's different mills where they process the coffee too as well. They put them through a screen as well. There's different sizes of beans. There's screens from 14 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
Some in some countries, or like Europe or USA, they require this certain amount or this screen size of coffee, or the US requires this size of coffee.
Because I mean, the grind has a lot to do with it too. The way you grind it, right?
Yeah, so that's another thing, when it comes to the brewing as well. If you're doing a pour over, there's a grind size that you want to do, depending on the origin as well. Depending on the brew method that you're gonna use. Drip coffee uses a different method, different ratio, depending the origin as well. So there's a lot of small little factors that it's behind coffee.
This is where you get into the weeds and people call you a snob. Is when you start talking about this stuff. Yeah. But it really does all make a difference.
It does really make a difference. Experience as well.
It's crazy the difference that it makes. I make espresso, and I also make drip still for work. Just because it's easy. Mm-hmm. And I've been messing with the grind size on those. And it changes everything.
Yeah, it changes that experience. The what would you say, those flavors.
The whole flavor profile can change just by adjusting that grind on there, Which I wanted to ask you too is, how long would you say beans last? Like, when is their peak freshness?
I think like 3 months.
3 months after they've been roasted?
Yeah. If you keep them really airtight,
mm-hmm.
where there's no air hitting it, there's no sun hitting it behind the cabinet, it can last you for a while. But you can really start to taste the difference through time. How that sweetness is not there no more. It's kind of like stale.
Mm-hmm.
There's no acidity behind it.
You can tell by the smell too. I've had bags of coffee beans where I smell them and I'm like, ooh, like that's losing its.
Yeah, like it's just like.
It's not there anymore.
Not like plain.
Yeah, it's almost like when you open an old can of coffee from a grocery store that's been sitting for who knows long. You open that up and you smell it, you're like, oh, that's kind of like dirt,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about beer, but this beer is pretty good.
This is a pretty good beer. I enjoy this. I never used to like IPAs. Isn't that crazy how our taste buds can change, our perception of taste changes? Like, a lot of people don't like coffee either. When they first try it, my parents still don't drink coffee. They're in their 60s, and they're like, no, it tasted bitter because they tried it once when they were a kid. Yeah. It was probably at a church where it was like Folgers that's been sitting out forever, mm-hmm. and they just never gave it a chance again.
Yeah,
And I'm like, man, if they just gave it a chance and just actually really experienced it and didn't think about the bitterness and stuff and really taste the flavors that are in it.
Yeah, I think like another thing behind that is the ratio that by back then they were not as snobbies like we are these days now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you think about like 1970 Kansas. How much coffee were they actually? What was the coffee like that they were getting?
Yeah.
It wasn't the best quality. Stuff that had been ground for probably months.
Yeah, they need to be up. That's all they needed.
Yeah. So, from the time you roast it, you think 3 months is like its peak?
Yeah, I think 3 months is its peak. After that, it starts to lose and diminish all those flavors, all those.
What if it's
acidity.
ground? How long does it last if it's ground?
It's ground. It's not.
A week, maybe?
Maybe a week or so.
Yeah.
Especially because you're opening the bag up and down. And then you already have it grounded, and it depends what you're using it for. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't want to sound or say that somebody's doing something wrong. Everybody does it differently, and as long as they're enjoying that coffee, whatever way they're doing it, that's all that matters.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know you don't want to sound snobby, but like a year ago, all that I had that I could find was a can of Best Choice coffee at work. So I threw that in my drip coffee machine, and I don't even know how old it was. It could have been years. And there's nobody on this planet that would enjoy that stuff, that would like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, the generic brand coffee that's probably like 3 years old.
Yeah.
It's so bad at that point. And I got to think to myself, like, that's probably what my parents experienced when they were kids.
Yeah.
If it's 1975 in Wichita, they're probably not getting any good coffee here.
Yeah. There's some people that when they go to hotels or they go to some popular coffee franchise, they add some salt to it, and it kind of like brings something.
Really?
Something, yeah. It like sparks something. I don't know chemically and chemistry wise what
Mm-hmm.
it does when you add a little bit of salt to it.
That's interesting.
But it brings some acidity, some flavors out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you try that next time when you're in
That's
the
cool.
hotel and you have a hotel coffee, add a little bit of salt and experience that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to try that. Because, they do that with chocolates, too. They say that people that eat crappier chocolate, if you get like something that's like Hershey's or something, and you add a little bit of salt to it, they say it changes the whole flavor profile.
Yeah. Something. I don't know I'm not very good at chemistry or.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff. But I can taste. I know that.
Yeah.
And that's all you really need, right? Is to be able to taste good. Yo, what's up?
This man is so humble. His coffee has won awards. And he
Tell me
does
about your
not
awards.
get any
Your coffee's won awards?
award-winning.
Yeah, we recently.
You can turn that mic on, by the way, if you want to talk and
No,
throw something
it's
in.
okay, but I want him to-
So,
Your coffee's won awards?
Yeah, so we recently there's this thing that it's Golden Bean North America, Golden Bean Australia, and so this is where some roasters they present a coffee to a competition. There's different categories. Excuse me. Different categories where they compete with milk-based espresso, single espresso, filter coffee, or pour over coffee, K-cup.
K-cup?
Yeah, K-cup.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
opinion on K-cups?
I think my K-cups are good.
Oh, you make K-cups?
Yeah, we're starting to make K-cups, and
No
they're
kidding.
good.
Anyways, sorry to interrupt.
And so there's this whole competition thing where you can turn in a coffee. Coffee, when you purchase coffee, it can be green, not roasted. It can vary from $2 to $100 to
Mhm.
$1,000 per pound.
Wow.
And so there's that. And then, I mean, we turned in three of our coffees, and two of our coffees won a bronze medal for pour over filter coffee.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just a competition where all these roasters from all the states, from the United States, they compete for
So you
the
send
best
in
coffee.
do you send in your whole beans then, and then they do it from there, and
Yeah,
they make all these
so-
different types out of that?
Yeah, so you send your whole bean coffee. You really they don't know who roasted it. Only the person that received it, and the judges they don't know whose coffee
So
it
it's
is.
a blind taste,
It's a
basically.
blind tasting, and they either put espresso with it or did a pour over or drip coffee, and so they cup it. And there's a form that coffee professionals use to grade coffees, and so that's kind of like what they use, and they determine this coffee, whatever is this points, or this coffee is good.
Mm-hmm.
And so we won two awards with our two of our coffees, which
Dude,
is
hell yeah.
is the one of the ones that I told you is Guerrero. That one won, and Buenos Dias.
Okay, I'm gonna have to write these ones down. Can you tell me how to spell that first one?
Guerrero, Guerrero.
That's the one I'm buying first. Right there.
Yeah, so the coffees, it's you normally hear coffees from Mexico. When you hear coffees, it's Chiapas, Veracruz, most of the time. That's where you hear them from, Veracruz or Chiapas. This coffee is from a very, very remote area in Guerrero, and
So is it like a single farmer? Do you know, or is it like a?
it's so most of these coffees they're gonna be, I call them community coffees, because these farmers they might have only like 1 acre of farm or
Mhm.
two, very very small land of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they would sell it by itself, like, I don't think they would make much. So sometimes they bring these coffees to the mills, and the mills processes them, and they pay them the money for.
So it's the same way
coffee.
as like we do wheat in Kansas. You have all the local farmers around here, and they all take it to the grain elevator or co-op, and they process it and distribute it. So-
Exactly.
okay,
So that's exactly what that is as well.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, very very the same.
Yeah, and these farmers down there take pride in that too. Probably. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever talked to any of them or not,
Yeah.
but do they get to try their own product?
Yeah, so you know what? The thing is that most of these farmers, they send the best coffee to the States, to Europe,
So they're
And they
roasting
keep-
some.
and they keep, sadly, but they keep just the bad stuff. That's what they keep, and that's what they drink.
Yeah, which
One-
is still probably pretty good,
Yeah.
even if it's bad stuff from them. You know.
One of my things was like what I would like to do is like actually help farmers if they want to open maybe roasteries, and I can go down there and help them open and show them and teach them.
Show them the ropes on everything.
Yeah, that'd be really cool to do. But
Hell yeah,
it's kind of
man.
hard when you have families. It's difficult, you know?
Right.
You have all these dreams, all these good things that you want to do.
Once they're all
live.
grown up, once the kids all grow up, then you can go do stuff like that. Maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of like I call them community coffees. Yeah, but
So, are you going to do this competition every year? Is it a yearly
yeah,
thing?
it's a yearly thing. There's a roasters competition where they send you coffee, and then you don't know that they don't tell you the coffee until like it's that time, and you might have only like 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
to prepare the roast and actually present it to the judges and talk about what did you do to that coffee? How did you roast it? Why did you roast it that way? I've done it 2 times. I haven't won, but it kind of got me out of the comfort zone for sure.
But you took third, you said? Is that what the bronze?
Oh, the bronze, yeah. Yeah, to those coffees.
Out of how many people do you think?
I don't know. There's so many.
So many people?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's got to feel great, right?
I don't know.
A blind taste test, something that you cupped yourself and made and created.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like every product that we have, I just roast it thinking of whoever harvested or produced it. Just maybe one day they will hear about me and they'll reach out and, you know.
Yeah. Well, you actually care, and it shines through. Like I said, authenticity like that. Somebody that actually puts work into their product and enjoys it and tries to make it the best that they can, that shines through in competitions, you know. Yeah. When there's no labels, when they have no clue what's going on, versus somebody that's just purely trying to make a profit and trying to open a shop and just pump out coffees every day, you know. Yeah. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's not our I guess that's not our motto.
Yeah.
Motto is people first.
So what's the worst part of this whole thing that you've experienced? Have you had any downsides?
I don't know. I don't think I have had any downsides because everybody has been very supportive. But yeah, I don't think I can say that I have.
Any hardships at all? Anything that really sucked when you were going through the whole process of opening your business or opening your second business?
No. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's like sometimes, you know, I doubt about myself sometimes, and
self-doubt.
Yeah, I put just myself down, or I don't think I value myself as much, and I think that's what I've encountered.
Really? Just
because I see a lot of people that kind of like see me and believe me and cheer me up, but sometimes I don't do it to myself.
I think you have imposter syndrome a little bit, maybe. Like, you have this award-winning coffee. You're obviously very successful. Your business is doing great. Everybody's embracing you, but you might not feel that about yourself. Inside, you kind of just feel like, oh, I'm just this normal guy. Like, what's special about me? You know, that's called imposter syndrome, and a lot of people get that when they open a business like you. But you're obviously you found the recipe, man. You found the formula, right?
I don't know if it's a formula or a recipe, but I mean, I just put my heart to what I do.
Your heart's in it, and your heart's there for the community too. It's not just about making coffee.
No, it's about creating experiences, opportunities, relationships. Just, yeah, that's what it is about. You know,
that's amazing, man.
Doing something for the family, and hopefully they grow into it.
Have any of your kids drank coffee yet?
Yeah, 2 of them do. You know, I have a 16-year-old and a 14. They both are, you know, helping in the shop, and you know, they go in there and actually dial in espresso and taste espresso and make sure it's tasting, you know, where
they have the taste for it.
Yeah, they're working on that.
Did they get your palate?
I don't know if they do, but they're building it.
They're building it. That's the only way to build it, I guess, is to keep trying, right? Well, hell yeah, man. I gotta ask you real quick before we wean it off here. The cat poop coffee. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I never had it before. People tell me about it, but I don't know.
I
guess it's an experience.
I don't know what it is. Can you explain what it is? Do you know about it?
It's kind of like that, you know, like we talked about different processes.
Yeah.
that's
their process?
That's the process.
So the cats eat the beans? Is that what it happens?
I don't think it's a cat. I don't know what animal it is. You know,
don't say it's a human, please.
It's not a human. It's some type of animal that just it's that coffee and then poops it out, and it brings all these flavors, I guess. But I don't know. I never had it. I know it's really expensive, and I really want to try it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really expensive.
If I think I would have to try it if somebody offered it to me, I would have to try it, but I'm not going to go buy it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it's really expensive. I never had it.
just because it
I
brings
think-
flavors out though doesn't mean they're good flavors.
At one point, I think it was very popular. I just understand. I don't understand why like the why behind it.
I don't either. Maybe their stomach roasts it better than any man-made roaster. You know.
Maybe it's creating all these chemical reactions.
Yeah.
While they're pooping it out. I don't know.
I had to ask. Sorry.
But like you got wash process, you have natural, you have anaerobic, you have
Yeah, the one that you told me that was sun-dried.
natural process.
Yep. I want to try that.
Yeah, come by the shop and
I'm going to come by the shop.
we'll take care of you.
Do you think you could show me how you roast it too? If I came over there?
Yeah. One day.
I've never seen it in action.
Yeah, and we have we have that one. We have the wash process and aerobic. We don't have that one yet. I mean, there's all this fermentation process.
Mhm.
I mean, there's farmers are innovating on different ways on how they are processing their coffees now, because they want people to have the best experience as well. So they're doing the best they can as well. Innovating.
Mm-hmm. Thinking of different methods. Yep. Introducing new technologies. I'm sure as we become more technologically advanced, we're going to find different ways to do.
Some farmers don't have that cash flow, that money to kind of like invest in some of those things, but they are trying, definitely
Yeah.
trying their best. They have families too as well. They're trying to do positive changes and things to their community, and hopefully one day we're able to grow and also share and create opportunities to them as well and help them.
Help them on their end of the stick there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing all the hard work, the labor down there.
Yeah.
Like I said, hopefully they get to drink the coffee they make because
Yeah, some of them are actually starting to enjoy what they're actually sending.
Yeah.
They're actually doing pour overs. They're learning about all these methods that we're using here in the States or in
Mhm.
Europe, and actually enjoying their coffee.
what's the traditional way they drink coffee down there in Mexico?
In Mexico,
Do they
They
do
put
a
it in
pour over or
café de olla. They put it in a big pot.
in a big pot?
Yeah, they put it in a big pot. They put it in on this kind of like a clay type.
Kind of like a cauldron or something? Or a mortar and pestle or something like that where you mix it all together?
Something like that, and
'Cause
then
that's a way that they brew tea in Asia too, is they'll just dump the tea in there with the water and just let it sit.
yeah, that's what they do. And then sometimes they drink it like that, or sometimes they add some cinnamon, some sugar to it, and they enjoy it that way. Some of them roast their coffee in a normal pot on fire. They'll
Oh yeah,
just roast their coffee just here and there and toss it back and forth until
just
it
brown
turns
it
black.
in a pan basically.
Mhm. And then they have these rock rollers where they crush the coffee beans, and that's how they do the things over there. I want to experience that too.
It's crazy, man. Yeah.
They I don't think they are picky as sometimes we are over here, and they just enjoy what life gives
Yeah.
them. But
Yeah, sometimes we worry about things too much in America when it comes to that stuff,
mm,
And really the most basic way to do some things is the best way,
yeah,
Like just a simple pour over like you said versus doing all this crazy stuff with the pressure and everything,
Yeah.
which is great, don't get me wrong. But
No.
sometimes simple is better, Same with cooking. Sometimes simple, sometimes it's just better with salt and pepper, than all the extra stuff.
medium rare.
Medium rare, yeah. Did you guys have any other things that I should mention here? Any questions or anything? Nothing?
Yeah.
Do you have any last advice you would say to anybody out there that's thinking about doing this, or maybe has a dream or a vision like you?
Yeah, I mean, doing this, and I don't like putting anybody down, but I just think that look what you're getting into, and if you think you can do it, do it. If you have fear, face your fears, and don't doubt on yourself, I guess. Yeah.
Don't put too much doubt on yourself.
Huh?
Don't be too don't be too down on yourself.
Yeah, don't put yourself down. I mean,
Or be doubtful of your capabilities.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you have people around you that are cheering for you and they're saying you can do it.
And they're embracing you.
Yeah, and they're embracing you. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Well, you are one of the kindest people that I've ever met. You have such a great vision. Your heart is in everything that you do, and I love that. And I just want you to know I appreciate that, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
So cheers to you, sir.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity, and also thank you, Jan.
Yeah.
She's one of the number one supporter. Well, number two, because my wife's the number one.
Yeah, Jen with the coffee, who set all this up, right?
Yeah.
She's been on here before. You've seen her.
Yeah, since I met her, she's always, she has this drive too that I see in her, not for her, but like also like lifting others, and she has
highlighting others. She's very good at that. She's highlighting other people and what they're doing and just boosting their popularity, honestly.
Yeah. And
she's giving them a boost because she has a huge following.
Yeah, she's part of our our success, our business, everything that we do. She's part of our family.
Yeah.
She's family to us.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Jim with the coffee.
Yeah.
What's your handle again? Jim with the coffee.
Yeah.
And what's your where can we find you? Can you tell everybody your social media?
You can find us you can find us at Adelitas Cafe, or you can find us at Esperanza Coffee Roasters, or you can find us at 120 East First Street North, in Wichita, Kansas. First and Market on that corner.
First and Market on the corner.
Yeah.
Yep. And everything is in the description. Once again, just like always, go to my description, and there's links for his website, his social media platforms, Jim with the Coffee again. Find them all, support them, love them. They're doing great things. You're doing great things for the community.
Thank you.
You care about the community, obviously. You care about making an experience, bringing people together.
Mm-hmm.
And what more can you ask for, man? I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's so important.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having us.
So thank you so much for coming on, sir. I appreciate it. And I know you're out of beer, but I'm going to cheers you one more time.
Cheers.
And if you need another beer, there's one here. But cheers, and I wish you the best in everything that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.